Bravo is finally speaking out about this whole situation that's going on with the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And they want y'all to leave these producers alone. Leave them alone. Leave Brittany alone. Let's discuss, shall we? I think we shall. So, in order to start this bit of investigative journalism, Sherlock Homeboy is back, baby. We have to take things over to our friends over at the Jasmine brand. Okay, so they have their own exclusive. Okay. And the report is that only 3 cast members are expected to return to the Real Housewives of Atlanta next season. And production is receiving the threats with fans threatening to boycott over the shakeup. Okay. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. All right. I took and told y'all in yesterday's video, I said a soft reboot would be the better alternative than a hard reboot. And let me give you the difference. A soft reboot, you're taking at least 2 to 3 main characters that are here right now, and then you're bringing in 3 to 4 new characters. Now, I'm assuming that the issue with Atlanta has always been the pay, okay? And that's probably why we've never gotten 7 full-time housewives. And I think we need 7 full-time housewives versus having these friends and hangers on and whatnot and whoop de whoop. Now, let's get into what the Jasmine brand is reporting, okay? Um, Season 15 is finished. We're going into the reunion. All right. And y'all know the public, we ain't really been feeling this season that much, right? So according to their sources, some of the critics have taken things a bit too far, even allegedly sending the threats, okay, of ending the lives, okay, of the series producers. Now, you guys may recall we talked about yesterday the report from B. Scott that production was trying to replace the entire cast from the series. So, insiders apparently close to the show have confirmed to the Jasmine brand exclusively that viewers can expect to see new faces next season. However, some of the current Atlanta ladies will be returning as well. Now, see, this being the soft reboot is, I think, what we would really need, right? Producers will likely keep 2 to 3 current housewives and recast the remaining slots with new women. It is speculated that Kenya Moore, Candy Burris, and possibly Sheree Whitfield will be offered contracts for season 16. Now, let me talk about those 3. Um, those 3 are technically our anchors for this show. I know that for a lot of people, they feel like Drew has really been an MVP this season. But I think that what is happening here, if they decide not to keep Drew, is that her story is a bit too confusing for fans. Like, we don't know what to believe. And when it becomes difficult to believe someone, I think then it becomes difficult for the audience to stay connected to them. I personally was beginning to enjoy Drew, and I think that her performance at the reunion might be something that helps keep her on the show if they do decide to keep her. Sheree is probably the more questionable choice to me because I think that for the most part, Sheree, it's we've had a harder time relating to her overall over the past couple of years, and even the show's producers have seemed to have a hard time, finding reasons to keep her, okay, over these past several years. Do I want these people to be out of a job? Let me always say this. No, I want all of our people to stay working and stay employed. It ain't nothing like that. But in terms of what makes sense for the show, I mean, Sheree would be a question mark for me. Kenya and Candy, to me, as you guys know, when I gave you my breakdown of who I thought should be, sort of left from the cast with the new Atlanta, we talked about that in this morning's video, I should say. And this was again just a loose estimation of what I would do for the cast, but that's just me. So let's continue on with the Jasmine brand because we got more stuff to cover. All right. So As stated yesterday, all right. After we said, okay, it's speculated that Kenya Moore, Candy Burris, and possibly Sheree Whitfield will be offered contracts for season 16. It's also important to note that Bravo has addressed rumors that the network plans to change the entire cast and said nothing official has been decided. So we did talk about how that was the official word, and we got that yesterday. Well, I think this morning. Well, it came out last night, but we got that from TV Deets as well. Now, as far as the new peach holders, sources are telling the Jasmine brand that we should not expect to see any well-known celebrities. And to that, I say slow clap, okay? Slow clap. We don't want these celebrities. We don't want a social media influencer, okay? We want a socialite. We want people who are new that we have never seen before, okay? Now, the reason why production will use that is using this opportunity to introduce new socialites to the world is allegedly because the series doesn't have the budget to cover big name Atlanta-based stars. Because we don't need them. Okay. I told y'all who the stars would be if they were to go in that direction. But that's just me. All right. That's just me. Now, we're going to get into the threats of it all in just 1 second. All right. So, for those of you guys who are Kenya and Candy fans, it sounds like they could be safe. But let's talk about production. All right. Because many of you guys have been complaining about production being at fault. And I do feel like production is largely to blame, but I feel like people are putting it all on one person, right? So Eric D. Fuller, who is a producer, well, as stated here, showrunner, okay, from Queens of Bravo. This is they picked this story up. So Eric Fuller had posted on his Instagram and said, "I'm not an editor. I don't make casting decisions. I don't choose what scenes make it or not. If you're going to come for me, come for what I'm responsible for." Um, this kind of confused me just a bit because while I definitely think y'all leave this man alone, don't be sending this man death threats. It is at the end of the day, these shows are for our entertainment purposes only, right? And so as such, these people should not be getting threats of that level. So y'all leave this man alone and let this man continue to work, right? But I will say I don't like what he posted because for me, I feel like there is no ownership there. It feels like I don't have nothing to do with this show. If that's what it comes across like. You know what I'm saying? It comes across like, well, I don't edit the scenes. I don't make no casting choices. I don't even choose what scenes are shown. But we do see you in the frame. I thought it was him. We saw asking Candy questions about the incident at the Blaze. Okay. And when we looked at Potomac, we see Candace run into him, about that whole situation when Giselle confronted her about Chris. So there is something that you're in charge of as the showrunner. And for me, when I watch Carlos King's, interviews and he reminisces about his time on, working with the Real Housewives of Atlanta, not to compare the two, but I feel like Carlos takes a personal vested interest in in the way that show was shaped. And when I listen to the cast, they too talk about how Carlos had a vested interest in how the season and the episodes were shaped. So I'm confused about what his role actually is. So what I would have preferred him to say is either nothing, because he doesn't have to say anything, because the onus of a bad season does not just fall solely on his shoulders. He just happened to be a part of it. Okay. Now, I'm sure all of these decisions ain't his decisions. And I'm sure to a certain degree, there's a lot of things that he probably can. I would like to do this, but I can't do it because maybe somebody in the network or higher up don't want that to be shown. I don't really know. What I do know is I just don't like this response because it lacks ownership to me. To me. And maybe he's not responsible for any of these things. But my thing is, then what are you responsible for? That is what you should tell us in this post right here. Or what he could have said, guys, it is a show based on, and it is for your entertainment. If you are not entertained this season, we will work together. We will all work together to make sure that the next season is the best season. That's what I think he should have said, personally. But what I will say is, y'all, please don't be sending the threats to the people, because at the end of the day, we want the shows to air. We want the shows to be good. I think we all want the same things. I think we just need to make better decisions when it comes to the storylines, the casting, and everything for next season. And I feel like hopefully now they are really listening to the fans. It's just a shame that it had to get to this point in order for it to happen. So, y'all, like I said, leave this man alone. Let this man live his life. Because at the end of the day, I feel like most of all, we all want to do our best in life, and we all want to leave a great legacy. So, you win some and you lose some. And this season, I mean, it was an L for the most part for a lot of us, right? But we still watched, and we still had something to talk about. So for that, at least, I'm grateful. Now, let's take things over to Love B. Scott, because Love B. Scott also gives us a very interesting update when it comes to what is going on with Atlanta as well. And it will, in part, contain some of what we just talked about. Give me 1 second to pull that up. And again, I like to show you guys these things because I do like a show and tell type situation. If I were producing a reality show or something like that, that's what I feel like that's what you always need. You got to be able to show, and you got to be able to tell in a visual medium, right? So Lovely Scott's report is reporting that Bravo is asking fans to stop attacking the Atlanta producers. Okay, stop it. We told you how yesterday Eric, apparently fans have been attacking not only members of like the truly original production team, and then sending those threats to the executive producer, and Eric had to actually come on and say, like, hey, like, I don't control all of the things y'all think I control. Now Bravo is stepping in. All right. And they had given their own statement to Love B. Scott, and says Bravo strongly condemns threats and online attacks against the Real Housewives of Atlanta producers, and urges people to please stop. Now, sources are also telling Love B. Scott that the producers on the receiving ends are not responsible for any editing decisions. All right. So the editing decisions, from what we understand right now, seem to lie at the top. Okay. So we need to be looking. What does Ayan say? The fish thinks from the head down. So somebody at a higher level is making the ultimate choices. It seems like what I'm hearing based on all of this. So we need to, y'all, come on now. We got to do better, right? We want the show to win, but to a certain degree, fans have made their voices heard. The reboot is not what they want. Okay. I have seen some comments saying that the reboot is what people wanted. And again, I would have to caution you to, like, listen, again, it's plenty of examples I could use right now, but all I'm gonna say is think twice. Think twice. Okay? Think real long and hard about that. And if you are not enjoying the shows, you also have the option of just not watching. I mean, there's that. But don't stop the rest of us from being able to enjoy what we want to enjoy because you don't enjoy it, right? But I will say something needs to change. Okay? And I think we all can agree. All right. So for our last story, we are going to take things over to It's on Site. And it's really to give you guys a visual picture. Our boy from House of Aaron, shout out to House of Aaron. He is doing big things. I'm super excited and proud of him, and I cannot wait to see what other great things he has up his sleeve and does. As you guys know, I love to shout out other creators, and he's somebody that I just love behind the scenes. he interviewed Monyetta Shaw, and she gave us some interesting tea on this little clip that's making the rounds. She had to, she knew she had to get that divorce from Monyetta. I mean, from Neo, because he wanted them threesomes too much. Now, she in the interview, she does let the people know that she felt like they was cheating together, okay? But they was cheating in the form of having all these threesomes. And apparently he wanted them almost every day, according to it's on site right here. And if you watch the interview, it's interesting. All right. Now, now the editor, whoever wrote this caption for on site, I can't lie, I am crying right now. They wrote, fast forward, Neo has a football team of children and is currently in a relationship with multiple big booty teens that allegedly helped ruin his marriage. Dang, Neo has been sharing that thing since the early 2000s, and our boy isn't tired yet. Let me write allegedly up here. I just had to read that to y'all because it took me all the way out. Okay. So you know what? I can understand the girl. Like, don't nobody listen. If Monyetta goes on to say basically that, it was happening so often that at the end of the day, she felt like, is it really me that you want, or is it the three ways? Because it sounds to me like you want the three ways more than you want me. You want something different. And that's when she knew. And she goes on to say, yeah, she could be a little, freak in the sheets, but at a certain point, it's got to be, maybe twice a year. But when it comes to the point where you want them all the time like that, nah, player. You might as well go ahead and do your thing. Do your thing like you're doing. With that being said, listen, that's all the tea we got for y'all today. I can't give y'all no more news. I'm done. It has been a busy week, especially in these Atlanta streets. And I don't know what we about to do. But anyway, I guess we'll find out soon enough. This reunion is coming up on this Sunday, so we'll be locked and loaded for that. With that being said, I will catch y'all in the next video.